What's up, everyone? Justin here, back with a new video. This is a Let's Talk About It. Usually, my Let's Talk About It videos are about movies, movie reviews, or TV show reviews, documentary reviews. Well, guess what? This is a documentary. It's a wrestling documentary about WrestleMania 9. Let's go back 32 years. Good God. 32 years to 1993, where WrestleMania 9, the first ever WrestleMania to take place, it was historic. Wasn't a huge crowd. Wasn't a giant football stadium. Wasn't a baseball stadium. It wasn't in a soccer stadium. It was in Caesar's Palace, in like a parking lot where it was basically a parking lot, a small arena that Caesar's Palace built. It was a small damn arena. Didn't hold that many fans. They had boxing events there for years and years in the late 80s. I don't think they ever had enough seats or bleachers to like draw 15 to 16,000. But for WrestleMania 9, it was a good crowd. I think they got more seating, more bleachers, or it seemed like they upgraded Caesar's Palace, the arena outside, because it looked like a dump, kind of. They says just basically land. They are in the damn desert. In 1993, it was a lot more desert than like how it is now. Vegas looks a lot different. Watch the documentary on WrestleMania 9. It's on Peacock. Look at Vegas now. Look at how Caesar's Palace is. It looks a lot different. The site of WrestleMania 9, it's like they built over it. I don't know if it's still a Caesar's Palace, but they got like giant fountains and statues and stuff like that. It looks a lot better than it did in 1993. Let's go back to 1993. I was 9 years old. I did not get to watch WrestleMania 9 live. It was available on pay-per-view, but I didn't get to see it. I saw it like maybe a month later. I saw it on a videotape. So, again, great documentary. It's on Peacock if you're a wrestling fan, a lifelong wrestling fan like I am. I'm such a long-time fan. I've been a fan all my life, since I've been 3 years old. I'm such a fan. I got freaking replica titles before they looked like real titles, when it was foam. Styrofoam. That's what it feels like. It's foam. This is the only replica titles we had back in the late 80s to buy. That's all we had, these tiny little replicas. But as a kid, as a teenager, I loved all this title. I used to wear it around all the time. So this is from 1989. At a house show I got it. And my God, all these figures, my collection. And this documentary about WrestleMania 9 is a lot about him. A lot about him. And I put up his shirt because Hogan is the reason I'm a wrestling fan. I don't like the guy personally. I don't agree with his views and politics at all. But the wrestling character Hulk Hogan, I was a fan of him. He got me into wrestling. The person, Terry Bollea, I don't like him or agree with him. But the character Hulk Hogan, I was a big fan of. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to be ashamed of being a fan of Hulk Hogan growing up. Because if it wasn't for him, me seeing him on TV and in person at live events, I might still not be a wrestling fan. So let's get into the documentary. It was long. I was surprised. It was about an hour, 48 minutes or something. Very well done. Damn good documentary Peacock put out. WWE made it. They had their own director. I forget the guy's name, but it was very good, very well done. They had a ton of interviews with the past superstars that were around and actually a part of the show in 1993 at WrestleMania 9. They had a ton of guys that they interviewed. It was awesome. It was a behind the scenes special look at WrestleMania 9. I loved it. I loved this documentary. It was awesome. See the backstage footage. It was great to see all the wrestlers backstage out of character, sitting around in the arena waiting for the show to start. It was awesome. I mean, so many great, so many great. Let me cough a minute. So many great past. Watching this just brought back great memories of my childhood as a fan and why I loved wrestling so much. Hearing all these stories about WrestleMania 9 from the people that were actually there and involved on the show. It was great. I loved it. I love documentaries like this. It was awesome. And for some reason, I'm going to criticize Vince McMahon. Vince, for some reason, you had all this footage. You had all these tapes of WrestleMania 9 behind the scenes, behind the Mania. You won't release it ever. You barely released any of this ever before. I will say you released a tiny bit, like a minute or two. 1 or 2 minutes of some behind the scenes WrestleMania 9, but it wasn't much. I remember you released a little bit of it. Okay, so I'm back. I just had to go do something real quick. I'm back. The WrestleMania 9 documentary on Peacock. Let's talk about it. WrestleMania 9 becoming a spectacular, and it was. Or spectacle. I apologize. WrestleMania 9 becoming a spectacle, and it was. Again, this was 1993. It was a way different era, different time in the WWF and pro wrestling. A lot of the gimmicks were cartoon type characters, a lot of them. The only guys that were not like gimmicks mostly were Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. They were not really gimmicks. They were kind of themselves, basically, in my opinion. So it kicks off the documentary again. It was great. They got a ton of interviews from everybody involved that was working backstage in the company or on the ring crew, production, the former director of the WWF. His name is Kerwin. He was a lot better, by the way, than Kevin Dunn ever was. So they kick it off with, they go to WWE headquarters. It starts off with a camera shot, looked like a drone, showing off the new WWE headquarters, a new building in Stamford, Connecticut. Beautiful building, by the way, that they moved in. We get a ton of interviews from everybody involved in WrestleMania 9, bringing it to Vegas. Again, Caesar's Palace looked like a dump. The arena was not good when WrestleMania 9 came there. Didn't look good for pay-per-view. It looked kind of run down. I don't think they had that many bleachers as WrestleMania 9 had. Like for boxing events, it didn't look great. At least the footage they showed from a boxing match, Sugar Ray Leonard in the late 80s was boxing in Caesar's Palace. And the production did not look great, but the WWF and Vince were hired to do the production actually for a Sugar Ray Leonard fight and promote it on their TV on Primetime Wrestling. They promoted it. They did the pay-per-view. The WWF director, Kerwin, actually directed the boxing pay-per-view fight. I don't know why they had to interview this guy. I'm not a fan of him. But, yeah. I did hear him once, this guy, sports guy, Colin Coward. I did hear him say something actually intelligent once where he was disagreeing with Trump. So that's cool. He spoke out like 2-3 years ago. Or last year. I don't remember. But he spoke out against Trump. Good for him. He's not a scared little bitch like a lot of Republicans. Again, this is not about politics. Let's get back to the documentary WrestleMania 9 Becoming a Spectacle. First ever WrestleMania held outside, outdoors. A big show outdoors. Not as big as other outdoor shows they had, like in 1986 in Canada, the big event. That was outside in a baseball stadium. And that was a huge crowd. That was like 60,000 or more for the big event. I think that's the first outdoor... Oh, no. Yeah, that's probably the first outdoor WWF show under Vince McMahon Jr. But in 1980, I remember, Shea Stadium, New York, where the Mets play. Former Mets Stadium, Shea Stadium. 1980, you held an event at Shea Stadium outdoors. It was a pretty big event. But that was a WWF. So, yeah, under Vince McMahon Jr., you had the big event and then the first ever WrestleMania held outside. So 2 shows were held outside. Actually, I take that back. 3. I just popped in my head. My hometown, Milwaukee. WrestleFest 88 was held outside in the Brewers' former home, County Stadium. And I've been there many times. It was kind of a dump, but it wasn't that run down. But when I was there, when I was going to games still in 99, before they moved into the new stadium in Milwaukee, the Brewers stadium was not very good. It was outdated as hell. Very outdated. It was very outdated for 1999-2000. But yeah, WrestleFest 88, another outdoor show, a big show. Drew a big crowd, like 24,000 or something. It was a big crowd. We'll try to watch it back. It's somewhere on YouTube, I think. WrestleFest 88. Headlined by Hulk Hogan. And Hulkamania was running wild against Andre the Giant in a steel cage. So yeah, WrestleFest 88. The big event in WrestleMania 9. 3 outdoor shows. But I understand WrestleMania 9 was pushing and pushing. This was the first WrestleMania held outside, and they're right about that. And it did look great. The pay-per-view, the production looked great. Vince McMahon, actually, they revealed. Vince was looking around Caesar's Palace at a ton of footage of Vince. It's sad, looking back. Seeing Vince McMahon in footage, it's... I feel 2 different ways. I feel split. I grew up loving the guy and what he did for wrestling in the WWF, my favorite company I grew up on. So yeah, I have some love for Vince. It's like he was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's like seriously, the guy probably is bipolar, has a ton of different personalities. It's like he had an angel and a devil on his shoulders. Seriously, he's legit nuts. And yeah, he probably did some horrible things. But again, Vince McMahon, the wrestling promoter, I still just I don't know, what would pro wrestling be without him if he didn't do what he did? If he wasn't like a workaholic, where would the business be? And probably wouldn't be in a very good place right now. But yeah. But Vince in the 90s, he still had it. He still had his brains. He listened to people more. He had a good product in the 90s. In my opinion, he had a very good product in the 80s and the 90s. The worst year in the 90s was probably, to me, 1991, maybe. To me, it was like 91 was not the best. So, yeah, but I was a kid. WrestleMania 9, again, I was 9 years old. So everything WWF put out, I watched. I watched it religiously every single week. I watched Superstars. I tried to watch Raws, but I didn't have cable. But I'd go to a neighbor's house and try to watch as many Raws as I could in 93. And this documentary is so great because they interviewed a ton of people. I was shocked. I was like, holy shit. They got a ton of interviews. This is awesome. Again, they interviewed George, this guy, George. I used to see him in backstage vignettes or pay-per-view video packages he used to appear in. I didn't know he worked for the company. I just thought they hired the guy to be in the promos for the pay-per-views, but he actually worked there. He still works there. He's been there like 32 years or more. So his name's George. I can't pronounce his last name. He's a WWE video archivalist. I would love to have that job, but he's got it. He had a lot of great insight. He said a lot of good things about the tapes he pulled out of the vault. They actually begin the documentary. He pulls out like 9 or 8 videos, puts them on a case and pushes them to some machine. Then he's sticking VHS tapes in, pressing play. And I don't know how they have this technology, but they do. Obviously, they can transfer videotapes to look crystal clear and put it on streaming. They could have released this on a DVD some time before, but stupid Vince McMahon Jr. never wanted to release all this footage. You know why? He probably thought, who cares? I don't care about history, and our fans wouldn't care. Well, I think this was only released, all this footage was put out only because WrestleMania is back in Vegas. In just 1 week, it's in Vegas again, WrestleMania 41. Think about that. That's insane. This documentary is about WrestleMania 9. Now we're coming up on 41. And I'm 41. Insane. And I'll be a fan for life. I know it. I will be a fan until the day I die of WWE. So the video archivalist, George, tells us he has one of the most important jobs to keep track of the WWE video archive. He says people have been asking him for years and years about the story of WrestleMania 9 for years. And we get an interview, and Bruce Pritchard is in this documentary because it makes sense. He fucking worked there. It was like he's part of Vince's creative team, I guess, because he pulled out a big old book. Again, this documentary was so good for hardcore fans. It was great. Pulled out a book of 1992 and 3 of booking all the shows. That was pretty cool to see that book. And I don't think Bruce Pritchard was ever a great booker or creative writer. He helped, for sure. He helped Vince and Pat Patterson, but my opinion, Vince and Pat Patterson probably came up with 99% of good ideas and storylines. And guess what? The main event of WrestleMania 9, after Yokozuna won, as he probably should have, because he won the Rumble. And they have so much footage. They went back to the 93 Rumble. They showed a lot of that, talked about it. I believe Randy Savage got eliminated last by Yoko. So then they talked about they had a young movement in the company. Hogan left at WrestleMania 8, and it was weird. Conflicting stories again from Hogan, probably lying. Hogan acted like Vince was pushing him out. I don't believe that. I don't know what to believe. If Hogan wanted to go. He wanted to go make movies and TV. Thunder in Paradise. He started, and yeah, he thought he was gonna be big in Hollywood. He thought he was gonna be a big movie star. He thought he was gonna be an action star. I guess he thought he could be a comedian also in comedies. That didn't work. Hogan. You were in Mr. Nanny. That didn't work. You should have stayed to action and stuck with action films, in my opinion. But yeah, Hogan explained. He talked here a lot. He was interviewed a lot. A lot of the shit he said was probably lies. A lot of it. But I do believe him at the end of the documentary. I think he did tell the truth about whose idea it was for Yoko to lose the title to Hogan, which made no fucking sense, but they did it anyway. And me personally, watching this, it didn't get me mad at the time. It didn't get me mad watching this morning. I was going to stop watching it because I had a lot of free time today. I had nothing else to do, nowhere to go, nothing to do. I didn't have to leave and go to work or anything. I didn't have to travel. But yeah, I was going to stop watching it this morning, but I couldn't stop. I watched the whole damn thing. I just didn't want to stop it and wake up and watch it. Or I didn't want to just stop it and try to go to sleep because I was very tired. But anyways, yeah. So I do believe what Hogan said at the end about him and Vince came to an agreement about defeating, taking the title off Yokozuna. I do believe that. And then according to Hogan, Vince said this will help make Yokozuna because I'll drop it back to him at King of the Ring. And that did help Yoko. And Undertaker said it best. He talked a lot. There was a lot of footage backstage of The Undertaker. He was in his character. He didn't want to break character because kayfabe was alive and well in 93. A lot of the talents didn't want to be filmed out of their characters. They were like shocked. Like, why do you have this camera on me backstage at WrestleMania 9? They were like, what are you doing? Why are you shooting me? What is this for? A ton of guys said that. They're like, what is this for? And they had like the whole roster in it. From 1993, Bam Bam Bigelow appeared. Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund backstage out of character. Vince was recorded a lot. Hogan. Brett was shown, Tatanka, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, John Gonzalez, the Steiners, the Head Shrinkers, Yokozuna, Mr. Fuji, Doink the Clown was even recorded backstage. Matt Bourne is Doink the Clown. I didn't see Crush appear backstage. I didn't see Crush in it. But everybody else was in it, just about. I didn't see Bob Backlund either, but he was on the show. He jobbed pretty quick to Razor. And yeah, Razor did not look like he liked being filmed. He started doing this. That was pretty funny. But Bret went up to the camera at one point. Bret Hart was like, and he was a champ at the time. Bret went up to the camera. He's like, what is this for? They told him it was behind the scenes of Mania 9. Behind the Mania. Bret was like, oh, if you would have told me that, I would have went to go do some damn push-ups. Also, Papa Shango. He's from Vegas. Papa Shango was interviewed. That was cool. They got Papa Shango to be interviewed. I forget his name. Charles Wright. I think his name's Charles Wright. He was interviewed. That was cool. Sadly, wasn't on the show, but he was a dark match before the show against Tito Santana. And Papa Shango said, I was very happy to be a part of the show. It was my hometown. He said he loved it. He was very excited. And more interviews. God. Lex Luger. They got Lex to talk and be interviewed about his character, the Narcissist. That was cool to hear from Lex Luger about his time at WrestleMania 9. And they had drawings in front of Lex. They had a little like tablet or computer in front of Lex so he could watch the backstage footage they shot. And a lot of the wrestlers were probably like, what the fuck, why are you shooting this? It's never going to get released. But, yeah, it did get released, thankfully. Great documentary, awesome. Great behind-the-scenes WWE documentary. One of the best they've done in, like, years and years. This one was really good. WrestleMania 9 and the Bray Wyatt one, tribute to him, was great. And the Cody one was pretty good. So, Bruce Pritchard, we heard from also Nelson. I can't say his last name, but he's a former WWE operations manager. And him and Vince, when it was set in stone, they were going to Caesar's Palace for WrestleMania 9. Nelson told Vince he had to send him a letter. And he said the tickets were on sale for just 2 weeks. And they only sold, I never heard this. Some of the stories I never heard before. And I've heard of just about every story about wrestling backstage. Some stories were just folklores and just rumors and made up. Like there were 2 different Ultimate Warriors. That was not true. You know, a lot of stupid shit that people just made up. Or that were rumors. There's a rumor in this, very funny rumor in the documentary. I don't know if it's true. It could have been or it could not be. I don't know. They even got the super fan. They got the WWF super fan. Charlie. I forget his last name, but Charlie. At a ton of events. He's all over Peacock. He was at like every pay-per-view, it seemed like. He was at every WrestleMania, he said. I've been at every WrestleMania for 50 years, I think. Or not 50 years, but he said I've been a wrestling fan for 50 years. And he said I was at every WrestleMania. He even had the hotel card for Caesar's Palace for WrestleMania 9. He was there. He got a few pictures with Rick Steiner and others. They even had a fan fest. Like WWE World, which the tickets are probably overpriced as hell, I bet, to get. autographs to pay to get in. Tickets are probably outrageous. I don't know. I haven't looked them up. I could try to look them up, but I don't want to right now. I want to talk about this documentary. I don't want to talk for an hour, but who knows. I got a lot to say about it. A lot of thoughts. Again, I will continue to put it over. This WrestleMania 9 documentary was so fucking good, fun to watch. Great to watch. All this backstage footage I've never seen before. Backstage at WrestleMania 9. So, Nelson, the guy that was WWE operations manager, he said tickets were on sale for 2 weeks and they only sold 2,000. That's insane. People were not that invested or interested in WrestleMania 9. And then he explained we kind of needed Hogan back. We needed Hulkamania back. We needed the Hulkster to return to boost ticket sales because Hogan from the late 80s, he was still a draw. He went away after WrestleMania 8 to do movies. He said he was bored as hell doing movies. He claimed, and that's probably true. He said, I don't like getting up 5 in the morning till, 11 at night doing a movie. And they even had some backstage footage of Hogan, like sitting in a movie chair, getting makeup or hair done. But he barely had any hair, let's be honest. But yeah, Hogan said, I missed wrestling. I missed being around the guys. And then the guy Nelson said, operations manager, that we needed Hogan to boost the sales. And it worked. And Vince and Hogan met. They agreed he'd come back. And he came back Monday Night Raw in February '93. They came up with the storyline. Hogan claims he came up with it that he would do a tag match with Brutus, Beefcake, which I don't think they talk anymore. I don't think they're on good terms still. I don't know why they're not on good terms. I don't care. Probably their wives were fighting. I don't know. I don't care. Brutus's wife does not like Linda Hogan and recently made fun of her in a video and mocked her. That was pretty damn funny, I thought. So, yeah, Nelson said we couldn't sell many tickets until Hulk Hogan was back and came on board for WrestleMania 9. And then before Hogan was back, they were showing a video package trying to sell WrestleMania 9. It was showing all the new generation stars, Shawn Michaels, Taker, Brett, and others, the Steiners. They even got the Steiners to be interviewed. Rick and Scott were even interviewed. Rikishi was interviewed also. What happened to his brother, Samu? I don't know. What happened to, or was that Rikishi's brother or cousin? Part of the Head Shrinkers. Did he pass away? I'm not sure. I hope he's still alive. I don't know, though. Again, they got like everybody to be interviewed. That was a part of WrestleMania 9. They even got Jim Ross. I think it was an old interview from like a year ago. 1 or 2 years ago. Maybe it's from 6 months ago. I don't know. But they got JR to be interviewed, a part of this. That was awesome. I'm glad AEW let him. Or Tony Khan let him, I guess. Shawn Michaels was interviewed. Of course, he had to be. Tatanka was not in it. He was not interviewed. I don't know why. Tatanka was a part of the show. He kicked off the show at a damn good Intercontinental title match. He probably should have won, but he didn't. So then we get to hear from Again, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, they were watching backstage footage and commenting on it like a watch along. That was pretty cool, like a reaction to what they were doing at the time. That was really cool to watch and hear. Some guy, a former WWE executive, says he recalls Vince calling him, telling him Hawk is well, that was later in the documentary. When Hogan showed up before WrestleMania 9, he was injured. He had these giant sunglasses, but Vince knew he got injured. Vince was pissed. You could tell. Vince had like a piece of paper rolled up. He started smacking Hogan with it. I think he was pissed on camera, but he wouldn't show it. He wasn't going to explode in front of cameras. But Hogan said Vince was really mad about his injury on a so-called jet ski. I don't know if it happened. The story is Randy Savage punched him and gave him the black eye. They got in a fight the night before. A few people said they heard the story. I think Bruce Pritchard might have said he heard about it. Undertaker said he heard about it. I think others, I can't remember who, but others said they heard the story. Randy Savage, or Scott Steiner said he was close to Randy. Scott Steiner said Randy told me that he punched Hogan. Maybe he did. I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's possible. Maybe they were drinking and they got in an argument. I don't fucking know. Maybe Savage started blaming Hogan again for his divorce to Elizabeth. I don't fucking know. Those guys had a love-hate relationship, it seemed like. In the 80s, they were like best friends. And then in the 90s, they were fighting, arguing, breaking up, ending the friendship, and then making up. Hogan then must have liked Savage because he brought him into WCW. I doubt, or Savage could have got a job anyway. With Bischoff would have hired him for sure. Without Hogan there, I guarantee it. But Hogan probably helped. Told Bischoff, bring him in. He's free agent. He's out of his contract. Done with his contract. So, Bret Hart's interviewed also. He watched a lot of footage and he admitted he was shocked. He was a world champ. He didn't feel like it was real. He said he felt a lot of pressure, like the company was on his back. And there was a lot of pressure for him and he was scared as hell, scared to death. But he did fine. I think Bret was a really good champion the first time he won it. I thought he was good. He's believable. He's a great worker. He had the look. He could talk. Wasn't a great talker, but he was fine. But Bret even watched himself at like a WrestleMania 9 press conference or luncheon or something in Vegas. They were speaking at a press conference, and Bret said, I looked really nervous. I was really scared and nervous to talk to the media, I guess. So let me get an interview from the WWF former director, Kevin, I forget his name, not Kevin, Kerwin. He was a director. And we hear from the guy that ran Caesar's Palace, the events at Caesar's Palace to be booked. And then another guy from Caesar's Palace said he ran the sports book. In 93, they had a sports book. And he said they put up the odds of WrestleMania 9. This was really funny to me. They put up the odds of all the matches and the odds. Like, you could bet on it. And the fan, Charlie, the fan, said, I saw the wrestling betting odds. And he said to himself, oh, that's interesting, he thought. And a lot of fans started looking at the odds in Vegas on the sports book in Caesar's Palace, and a whole bunch of fans, everybody wanted to start betting on it because they were probably shocked pro wrestling was available to bet on. But guess what? You couldn't bet on it. So they took it down because too many fans wanted to bet on it. Too many people wanted to bet on it. And I saw the odds. It was like Bret Hart was a favorite. And Yokozuna looks like a favorite also. If you're into sports, you know the favorites are favored to win. So I think the odds were Bret was a favorite, Yoko was a favorite. I'm sure Hogan and Beefcake were favorites. That was a weird finish. That made no sense. Jimmy Hart turned his jacket around and it was like a referee's stripes. That was a weird finish. But different. For the time, it was different. They talked about the Doink the Clown, the two doinks showing up. That was great shit. That was so good. Maybe I think it was so good because it was from my childhood. But I thought it was good. Where they started doing this and then laughing. That was good shit. So then we go on to... There's a lot of info I got in front of me. I can't read it all. I don't want to. The guy Nelson said at the time we had 3 or 4 ticket prices. Listen to this. Top tickets were only $250. Good God. This year I think they're $10,000 for front row, I think. That's outrageous. That's just straight up greed by TKO to try to get all their money back for paying $8 billion for WWE. Yeah, tickets were $250 and the cheapest were $25. I remember that. I went to so many shows in the 90s, in the early 2000s. I went to so many WWE shows where tickets were either $15 or $25. Even for pay-per-views. King of the Ring. 96 I was at. I think I paid $15 or $18 for a ticket and I had good seats. So I will praise Vince McMahon. Vince he put his tickets affordable, not like now. He set the ticket prices that were damn affordable for a family to go to, or 3 or 4 people, or 2 or 3 friends to go to. Very affordable prices under Vince, I thought. And the guy said Vince always wanted anybody to be able to go. So the cheapest we always had to have tickets, the cheapest at $25. And that is cheap. For WrestleMania, I would have went if I was in Vegas. Good God. I would have bought a ticket to sit up high for $25. And up high wasn't even that bad. It was like bleachers. So they had to interview this guy. I don't know why. Sports guy Colin Cowherd, just because he lived in Vegas, I guess, or he's around Vegas, and he said it was a big deal. People were excited. Well, he's the same dumb fuck. I don't know if he did this on purpose to piss off fans or if he really feels this way, but Colin Cowherd said once, wrestling fans are just booger eaters. That's what I think of him. Maybe he didn't mean it. I don't know, but he shouldn't have said it. So they got others interviewed. I think I went through everybody. Sadly, Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene are not alive. They couldn't be interviewed. But they did interview some backstage WWE workers. Some are still there working backstage. They got the $1 Million Man to be interviewed. They got Mike Rotundo. IRS. Kofi Kingston, current superstar Kofi, was interviewed about it. Again, we heard from Undertaker, and yeah, a lot of great footage. They claimed all the fans were trying to get in when they opened the gates, and there were only 2 gates you could get in from, and like whatever 12, 15,000 were trying to get in all at once. What else made me laugh? The backstage footage that we probably would have never fucking saw if Vince was still in power. I think and believe Triple H wanted to release this. He was like, we have all this damn footage of WrestleMania 9 in Vegas. Let's put out a documentary about it. I don't know whose idea it was. Nick Khan, Triple H, I don't know. But great fucking idea. Thank you for making this documentary and putting out all the backstage footage. This is really funny. Randy Savage, this made me laugh. Linda McMahon was talking to Randy Savage. She was drinking, she said soda, I guess, or Coke. And then he's like, oh, you got some alcohol in there, don't you? And she was like, no, it's just Coke. And then he's like, yeah, but you probably mixed some brandy and put it in there, or vodka. That was funny. And she's like, no. And then Randy was just messing with her. That was funny. Randy Savage, actually, the coolest part of the documentary. Also, Randy Savage did a recorded special promo for people staying in Caesar's Palace for WrestleMania 9. He cut a special promo for them. I guess they turned their TV on, and Randy Savage was cutting a promo. Welcome to Caesar's and WrestleMania 9's this weekend. Go to it. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that was good shit. Seeing that promo. So then the guy that ran the Caesar's Palace events, he started claiming this was kind of suspicious. He was like, if Hogan's returning, he started talking to WWE workers. Sean Mooney, also good to hear from him. Sean Mooney was interviewed a lot, or said a few things. I don't know why they didn't get Todd Pettengill, but maybe he wasn't available or he doesn't care to do it. I don't know. Because Sean Mooney was not even... He's backstage. I'm sure he was. He said when Hogan won the title, that Sean Mooney's like, what the hell is this? What's going on? This is chaos. This is insane. I don't think Sean Mooney liked it, that Hogan won. Again, as a fan, I didn't care. I marked out. I popped. I said it many times. I was happy. I was a Hulkamaniac. I was not upset. But I understand if Bret Hart fans were pissed. They had a right to be. Natalya was also interviewed. Good to hear from her. And the WWE superfan, Charlie, that guy Charlie, he was also at like every ECW arena show. I saw him there, just about. That guy, good God, he was at like every New York WWF show in the 90s and the late 80s. He was there. Him and his friend Vladimir. I think his name's Vladimir, but his friend. They were sitting next to each other all the time at shows. And they got on camera all the time. They always got like front row seats almost, or second or third row. So, again, a lot of superstars looking at the backstage footage from this is 2025. They're watching it, reacting to it. That was cool to watch, fun to watch, to hear their thoughts. What is with this? I'm trying to read all this. So Vince, let me go to this part. Vince was pissed at Hogan for being injured. Hogan said it was a jet skiing accident, and then Brutus backed him up and said, "I was there. It happened." Brutus said Hogan was like really out of it, not unconscious like Hogan said he's unconscious with his head down in the water, but Brutus said he was almost unconscious, but he was awake. And Brutus said it happened. He was there with him. So I kind of believe that the story got hit with or he wiped out, hit a wave. He's going too fast. He maybe didn't think it'd go that fast. He claimed it had jets on it or something, and he didn't expect it to go so fast. He went up a wave and crashed. Crashed and burned. So he tried to cover up, but the jet ski hit him in the damn head, right above the eye. That could have seriously killed him. That could kill someone. But I guess he blocked it, so he thankfully didn't get killed from that. Because imagine, good God, if Hogan would have got killed in 93, wrestling would have turned out a lot different without him. I don't know if wrestling would have been as popular or got as good or got as super hot as it did if Hogan wasn't around and went to join the NWO. Wrestling probably would have not been as hot ever and never got as hot as it did. Yeah, Stone Cold and Austin 316 helped, but the NWO started it all. In my opinion, they got wrestling back to being in a boom period and going way up in the ratings and everything. And of course, every year wrestling it goes up and down. There's great boom periods where it can go way up for 4 to 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. We're in a boom period now. With outrageous ticket prices, somehow we're still in a boom period. They're selling out all the time. Overseas, in Europe and America, the arenas look full. So, yeah, Hogan said he was injured by a jet ski, but then others said, I heard Randy Savage punched him, gave him the black eye. But then Brutus again backed up Hogan and said he was there, it happened. He pulled him out of the water to the shore. And then they started bringing up Brutus's accident from 91. Earlier, they brought it up that he had to wear that weird, hard-looking metal plastic mask. He said it was very uncomfortable to wear. But Hogan wanted to, I guess, help him and get him another big payday for WrestleMania. And Brutus said it was fun experience, WrestleMania 9 in Vegas, and he said that was my last ever WWF match in WrestleMania, and it was his last. And what I thought of about Brutus, I thought, damn, he was on WrestleMania 1, and he lasted to WrestleMania 9. That's a hell of a run. Same with Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene, Hogan. They lasted 9 to 10 year run. So let's see here. They showed a lot of footage of like every match and talked about it a little bit. Everybody was talking about the matches. They had cool footage of Undertaker in the rehearsals with the Falcon. Not the Falcon, the Vulture. And the Vulture acted out. Started flapping his wings during the rehearsals. He fell off the perch. Undertaker was afraid he was going to get bit or knock his hat off or shit on him. That was funny. That was funny shit. And Undertaker looked really annoyed. in the rehearsals. He was like, I don't like involving animals in entrances. Like, they're going to get freaked out. And they had a ton of animals, a ton of them. A damn elephant. Freaking elephant appeared down the entrance. I forgot about that, but a damn elephant appeared. Obviously, it was trained, but we had a camel with Bobby Heenan on it. And God, Bobby Heenan was so great. He wanted to get a pop. He wanted to just look like a fool because he knew it'd get him over. He rode the camel backwards just to get the fans to laugh. So then Vince gave Hogan had real money after the tag match. It was real. Started throwing it out to the fans, him and Brutus, and the fan, super fan Charlie said, yeah, I got some money, but sadly it was only a $5 bill. But he said, I saw 20s and 100s in there. And Vince told Nelson backstage, he said, go get money and give it out to the boys. I guess before WrestleMania, give it out to the boys. And let them gamble in Caesar's Palace. Give every wrestler $2,500. That was good of Vince. Again, Vince was pretty damn good to his employees and wrestlers. A lot. Some didn't make money. Some hated him for payoffs. Mostly Nails. Didn't like Vince. Tried to kill him. Choke him. But yeah, Vince took care of a lot of families that worked. A lot of people worked for his company. He made them a lot of money. They were dependent on Vince for a living, and he took care of them. A lot of his employees he took care of. Like him or not, he made a lot of wrestlers millionaires. Pushed a lot of wrestlers that did not deserve it, like Ludwig Borga and probably a few others. Made dumb decisions, like at the end of this documentary, Vince and Hogan, of course, they couldn't interview Vince. They definitely would not want to interview him because, good God, he has that court case against him, and he's a ton of heat. You can't interview Vince about it. But they got Hogan, and Hogan said him and Vince came up with the finish. I don't know if Hogan came up with it. Probably. He's playing backstage politics, of course. Why wouldn't he? Why would someone be shocked to hear Hogan played politics? I'm not shocked he did. I'm not. He goes, I think he told Vince, let's do something different. Again, I don't know if this was Hogan or Vince's idea, but let's do something different. Let's do 2 title changes, 2 world title changes in the main event. Let's have Yoko drop the title right away to Hogan. And so the fans would be shocked, and it'd be a shocking outcome. It was shocking. But guess what? The fans loved it. Everybody stood up. Watch it back. Watch the footage back. When Hogan got the 3 on Yoko, the fans exploded, jumped up, cheered like crazy, and celebrated. Now look, it was a different time, a different era. 93, most of the fans were just happy to cheer for any babyface. Like 100%. Watch Yoko and Brett. In 93, there were no fans chanting, let's go Yoko. Yeah, they were chanting for Brett. But back then, fans did not chant for the heels. They did not cheer for the heels. Maybe some did, but not many. And if I would have watched it live, I would have been cheering for Brett and Hogan. I would have thought it was great when Hogan defeated Yoko. I didn't care. I wasn't upset I wasn't a Bret guy. I love Bret. I respect him. He's one of the best of all time. He is one of the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be in the ring. One of the best technical wrestlers of all time. Never, ever injured anybody. Never had a bad match. But Hogan was a bigger draw. Hogan was a bigger name, bigger star. So I think it was the right decision for Hogan to defeat Yoko, because guess what? He dropped it right back to him. At King of the Ring, he dropped it to Yoko. So, you could say killed Bret's momentum, cut off Bret at the legs, whatever analogy you want to use. You could say it. Vince screwed Bret before the screw job. And Bret seemed pissed when he was talking in this documentary. He was like, yeah, Vince and Hogan stuck a knife in my back when I was standing right next to them. They told me. Bret said he found out on Friday night. The pay-per-view was Sunday. Bret said I found out Friday night. I was going to have to drop it to Yoko, and then Hogan was going to win. And Bret was like shocked. Couldn't believe it. Felt heartbroken. Felt betrayed. I don't blame him. And the talent, after Hogan won, the talent was like, what the fuck? And Undertaker was like, that's politics. Undertaker does not like Hogan. Undertaker's like, that's politics for you. Hogan winning, that's politics. But then Undertaker said I could see both sides also. And I can also see both sides. But I was not pissed. I was not mad. I was not upset Hogan won the title. And I didn't even know his politics back then. I didn't know. I just saw Bret pointing, telling Hogan, go in the ring. So I was happy. I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Bret's telling him, go take him on. Let me get to the end, as I already talked about it mostly. So Brutus said he's backstage, and Hogan told Jimmy Hart, I'm not done for the night. You'll probably see me again. Or maybe told that to Brutus. Jimmy Hart also was interviewed. Awesome. Glad Jimmy Hart. God bless him. I love Jimmy Hart. Glad he's still here. He was a part of WrestleMania 1. And he was a part of WrestleMania 9. And he's still here. And it's WrestleMania 41. Not many are alive that were a part of WrestleMania 1. Hogan, Mr. T. But Mr. T was not a pro wrestler. Jimmy Hart. Bob Orton Jr. Ricky Steamboat, Tito Santana, Greg Valentine. That's the only guys that are alive from WrestleMania 1. So here we go. God, why does this stupid thing keep moving up and down? So here's exactly what Undertaker said. Or Scott Steiner said... Or Hogan, yeah, Macho was pissed. This was pretty damn funny. Macho Man was really pissed. Hogan won. Macho was pissed. He was on Bret's side. And all the talent was on Bret's side. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, they were like, you're pushing the newer generation. And Undertaker even said, you got to push us like so we can become a guy like Hogan in the future. And he was right. You had to push the new generation. And Vince tried. He did. After Yoko won at King of the Ring, Hogan was gone for good. And Vince pushed Yoko like crazy. Pushed him as a monster heel champion. Wanted to push Lex Luger as a babyface. And Lex got over. He slammed Yoko on the Intrepid. July 4th, 93 is a great moment. I thought Lex got over. But Vince didn't give him the damn title at SummerSlam 93. I don't know why. But Vince tried to push younger guys, Lex and Brett and Yoko and Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. But guess what? This is for just Bret Hart fans. If you're still mad about this, just think of this. Yeah, Bret lost at WrestleMania 9. Hogan took the spotlight away from him. But Bret was in the WrestleMania 9 main event defending champion. And guess what? 1 year later, Bret would main event WrestleMania 10, win the damn title, and look like a mega superstar, the guy, the franchise player, carrying the company. Literally, they picked up Bret and carried him after he won the title. And Bret, absolutely was a highlight of WrestleMania 10. He kicked off the show with Owen and main evented and won the title. So he had a great year. Just 1 year later, Bret looked like a bigger star, in my opinion. For some reason, Vince had, this is off topic, but Vince had Lex Luger, for some reason, at WrestleMania 10, not win the title again and look like a fucking loser that couldn't win the big one. Good God. So, where was I here? Rikishi said he was so proud of Yoko and stuff like that. That backstage footage, they wanted to carry Yoko in a bed chair that was like flat chair. And they were like, I think we can carry Yoko. Yoko didn't want to be carried. He was scared. Bruce Pritchard got up on the couch thing. And he was like, try to lift me. Vince and Pat Patterson started lifting Bruce. And then he's like, no, this shit is not going to work. So Yoko did not get carried to the ring. But Randy Savage did. And they talked about Undertaker. This was great footage. Undertaker was talking about his horrible match with John Gonzalez. And Taker is still upset about it. That's funny. And Bruce Pritchard, I guess, booked it or wanted it on the show or something, because Bruce Pritchard said Undertaker still will not talk to me about WrestleMania 9. Some days he will not talk to me over that. So I guess Bruce Pritchard's the idiot that booked it. So, this just, God, it was so good. For any WWE fan, WWF fan, any pro wrestling fan, you should watch this. If you grew up in the 90s. If you didn't grow up in the 90s, still watch it. Go back and study, watch history, and learn about it. Learn about wrestling history, please. If you're a fan today and you were not alive. Learn about the history in the past. So WrestleMania 9 attendance was 16,891. The event even grossed $1 million. Very impressive. Then they had to put themselves over, of course, and say WrestleMania 41 will return to Vegas in a 2-night event. And it is projected to be the biggest grossing WrestleMania of all time, of course, because a lot of your tickets are $10,000 fucking dollars each. I don't know what the Skybox tickets will be, way up high in the nosebleeds, but good God, those better not cost 10, because that would be a total ripoff. So, where was I? Anyways, great documentary. Great backstage footage that has never been seen before. I've never seen it. I've only seen like 2 minutes of WrestleMania 9 behind the scenes before. 2 minutes only. And it was during WrestleMania 16. When I ordered WrestleMania 16, they did a WrestleMania all day long event on pay-per-view. Seriously, it started at like 8 in the morning. On pay-per-view, 8 in the morning until the end of WrestleMania 16. It was epic. Yeah, it costed $50, but it was long as hell. They started at 8 in the morning, talked about WrestleMania 1 to 16. And when they got to WrestleMania 9, for the WrestleMania All Day Long event during WrestleMania 16 at WrestleMania 2000, when they talked about WrestleMania 9, they showed a tiny bit of backstage footage, but not much. And this was great. Again, I can't put it over enough. It was so good because how many people involved they got to interview and be a part of it and tell the stories behind the scenes. WrestleMania 9 becoming a spectacle. It's on Peacock. It's great. For a hardcore fan like me, long-time fan, watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. Maybe you're on Brett's side or Hogan's side. It doesn't matter. It's very fun to watch and very enjoyable. Very good. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. It was great. Bye for now, everybody.